All right, my friends, here we go. It's a hot day over here in Baltimore, and we are getting ready for the 1,000+ grad show. Not a monster stream today, so we should have time to kind of go over games at our leisure. So let's just count it out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. It's going to be a nice and easy day today. Okay. By the way, if you find this boring, David and Kostya are doing the Botez stream. They're doing the Botez stream over there, watching those cute girls, in their matching tops. They're doing that kind of thing. You can watch that too if you want, man. Yep. All right. So what we're going to do is start clicking around here. And so, actually, it looks like I took it back. I think we have 6. And Lost in Ekamai, who has graduated numerous times. Ekamai is a place in Bangkok. I've Googled it twice now. Here we go. Haven't been completely logging all the work I've been doing, working with a coach twice a week and putting at least 6 hours a day on chess. Sometimes up to 10. Oh, I'm getting inspired. Holy moly. Back to work next week, so it will be a couple of months with just Chessable to work on tactics. Was working through Silman's Endgame Manual and Logical Chess before I started this cohort and will continue to do so. Wow, this is inspiring, dude. Also started my first opening repertoire for white and first opening repertoire for black, both by Selecki on Chessable long before I joined the dojo or started with coaching. So I review those lines daily as well. My coach has me switching from the 4-knight Sicilian to hyper-accelerated dragon, but otherwise still running those lines and sticking to opening principles when people go off book. But since it's a beginner repertoire, a lot of suboptimal moves by opponent that are frequently played are covered in the course. Okay, you guys know my spiel. And I would say, Ekamai, forget, you know what I'm going to say, dude. Forget about the openings until you hit 1,200. It's the dojo way, and I promise you, for your long-term improvement especially, because you're going for it, dude. You're going for it in a really impressive way. That's my advice there. Now, let's click on Lost in Ekamai and see what we get. I had not realized that Ekamai was studying chess so intensely. It's really awesome. Okay, it would be cool for me, Ekamai, for other people too, if you told us what your sitch is over here. Oh, darn it. Yeah, what your sitch is. Just to gain a sense, of where you are in life and that kind of thing, to get the 6 to 10 hours a day. So that's cool. Stop searching Ekamai. Hi, Ripshin Desk. Ripshin Desk is graduating a little later today too. And Ripshin, I did get your message. Okay, so let's take a look. Ekamai has been doing his business. Look at that. Tactics test 1283. And he's not been doing this. Interesting. Kind of odd. Usually it's our tactics says a checkmate test people haven't done. He hasn't done the puzzle rush stuff, which is a pretty good, especially this 5-minute one, pretty good indicator as well as our tactics test of where he is. So this average comes out pretty cleanly to where he is on his rating chart as well. Okay, so as you can see, epic progress. And I love the story, of people going for it. We have Pifflesticks, and I don't think Pifflesticks is making huge gains. It'll be interesting what's going on with Pifflesticks. He's not, well, we'll see. Anyways, that's a guy who took a year off and is going for it too. Yeah, maybe we'll check in with Pifflesticks a little later. All right, you guys, clubs. Beautiful. I'm assuming maybe this is a dude from Louisiana who's living in Thailand. That's my guess. All right, now we're going to go activity. He says he hasn't logged all of his stuff, but you can see he did 44 points, points of work. But again, maybe he's not logging all of his business. Okay, so games. And this game was played fairly recently. Let's click on this bad boy. And then I get to go to this flip of, oh, there it is, fine. This is my little layout. They're supposed to give me, hey, DM Hokey, I thought you were going to give me a layout for this, bows. Where's my layout, man? Where's my layout? Anyways, here's our business over here. And we got Ekamai is white. Unfortunately, none of the times are given here. So that's unfortunate. Wait, this says I already reviewed this game. Time out. Let's go back here. So, because he graduated just like last week, dude, and hasn't done another game. Oh, no. Oh, no. And these were way back when he was hundreds and hundreds of points lower. Huh. Okay. Let's see if I remember this game here. I vaguely... yeah, this is where... Yeah, I remember this. Okay, Ekamai. So, you're just going so fast, you haven't had time to do the game analysis. And let me stress, for wherever you are, I don't care if you're a GM, the game analysis comes before the opening work. I know that sounds terrible, you know, because opening work is so fun. But this is the hard work that needs to get done for the deep progress to happen. Okay, so let's return then to our business. We'll go back to this little template. And next up we have Riyadh. And Riyadh, you know, when I see someone with 0 points, that might be someone who just joined the dojo. So let's go take a look. So let's give him a follow. Joined at April this year. Hasn't done any tactics tests or really anything. Clubs, nothing. Activity, nothing. Games, nothing. So like I said, this is somebody who he's been here for a while, hit the graduation, but hasn't been logging anything. So it's kind of hard. Well, it's impossible for me to say anything constructive for Riyadh, but still cool that he went forward. What? Jesse Cam should occupy the center of the board because that's where the important squares are. That's right. Okay. Next up, we have DX. Big shout out to myself for graduating to the next cohort. It wasn't always easy, but the dedication paid off. Now, time to celebrate and get back to training. The next level awaits. Very cool. Yeah. And, you know, in general, with 46, you know, it varies a little bit cohort by cohort, but that's probably about 50 hours of work right there, you know. It's no chump change here. But if you get there in 50 hours, you know, that's pretty good still. All right, so 1242. All right, team leader, 2 kids, me too. There's the father, there's the girl, there's the boy. That's kind of my situation too. Life was grand until my chess prodigy son started outsmarting me in every match. My kids won't play chess. Now I'm on a mission to up my game and survive past the 20th move. Okay, really cool. Really cool. On a mission to lure my daughter into the magical world of chess too. My daughter, you know, is older, wasn't really into it. And now I feel like her distaste, you know, maybe just because that's what dad does all day too. You know, I've had a very hard time. I haven't pushed it incredibly hard though. Maybe I need to push it a little harder. Okay, DX, let's take a look. Hasn't done any business. We want you to do some tactics tests, a checkmate test, see where you are. Clubs, nothing. Join some clubs. Cool to know where you are. And now we'll go here. And he's done, there's his 47 hours of work. And that's a good macro distribution. Maybe we want a little bit more tactics maybe, right? Okay, so let's click on games. And let's do this one. Great, and now we'll switch scenes to the dojo game review. All right. So So first we'll hit mark reviewed. And now this is a tech question, but all I know is it is possible to bring the PGN over with the timestamps on it. And if you just, my sense like Chess.com or Lichess, you just hit that share button, copy and paste it into our window, it should work. Jack told me there's other ways of doing it that maybe wouldn't work. I don't know what those ways are. But in general, if you just hit that share button, copy, paste it into our business, boom, it'll happen immediately. Okay, this time play the white pieces with 60 minutes. Still struggle with the opening, but according to my training plan in my cohort, I should focus only on the generic principles. Generic makes them sound terrible. They're amazing. So here we go. E4, E6. Weird, right? Weird. A standard reason not to be studying the opening so much. They're going to be doing weird stuff. So F4, I think, though, is wrong. Let's read what you write about F4. And again, he just left the center to me. Then I utilized all the possibilities to control it. I wasn't sure about this move, as the general advice states that I should prioritize the development of heavy pieces first. Right. So let's talk about it. F4. Let's talk about, we call this the dreams of Federico. Think about it. You're blocking your bishop. You're opening your king. Are you really helping any pieces develop? So the way to rationalize F4, if you're going to do it, is to say, oh, this will be a highfalutin move, and later my rook will be developed in one shot. You know, I'll play F4, knight F3, and everybody will be there. So it's a very dangerous move. It does not help you develop. So then we think about it, be like, well, what's the most natural move? Boom, 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 clear advantage for white. Doing great. Okay, so F4, bishop B7, knight C3, and now your opponent, I don't know if it's too strong to call it a blunder, but it's definitely weird. Knight E7, blocking his bishop. One simple way to see that black could actually give you a little grief here because of your F4 move is bishop B4, bishop D3, and then F5, exclam. Point being that if this goes down, then this goes down, and no one likes it. No one likes it, right? So, yeah, that's kind of that. And it's just unpleasant. He's gonna intensify it next move with knight F6 or something. You know, he's doing pretty good. Okay, so knight E7, mistake. Development mistakes, right? Good move. Kind of weird. Bishop E3, good, and then another mistake. Losing time. Not sure what the intention was behind this move. I would have kept the pressure on my e-pawn. Good. Yeah. And now you go for it, man. Now, I always want to say, that's some alpha chess right there. And I don't just mean alpha 0, I mean alpha. You know, the kids talk about alpha and beta. Maybe your kids are saying that stuff too. That's definitely an alpha move. Let's see what you write. I should reconsider this move and contemplate moving to H3 to maintain control of the G3 square. I think you mean G4 square. In this case, I lost control and my opponent seemed to notice that. That's why he attempted to maneuver his knight to this outpost. However, it later became apparent that he required a significant amount of time for the maneuver. Okay, so for me, H4, you got many, by the way, you've got many possible moves here. You could castle, you could take, both of them in compliance with basic development principles. By the way, you are playing development principles, your opponent is not, and you have an amazing position. I don't consider this necessarily a mistake, though, because if he allows H5, Harry the H-pawn is going to be most upset, and this rook, I think, is just too strong. So when you think about it, and he has to play something like H5, by the way, when he takes and you take back, this was a tempo, he, I think, is obliged to play something like that. And you're worried about his knight, but it takes a while for him to get there. And also, he just gave you this little coconut of a square to work with too. So because h5, I feel, is more or less obligatory for him, you did not lose time when you played h4. So you could castle either way. Good move. And now look at this. This guy. Come on, buddy. Come on. So now what's important is like, what I want you to see is these players don't appreciate how important development is. Okay? And after I get back from the U.S. Senior Championships, I have this ambition to write a Chessable course called Time to Do What. I did a basic beginner level course about playing GM moves as an absolute beginner. That was called It's About Time. And Time to Do What would be a bunch of training positions that would focus on positions like this, where our opponent has given us a ton of time. So notice what's going on for you is you're really sweating this knight coming to g4. Now, just imagine it for a second. Let's say we give him 2 more moves. Boom, boom. We still should be very happy with our position. We have our development advantage is so great. So great. Okay. Now you play d5, and I have a lot of sympathy for the move. And the thing that I will stress is, get rid of those arrows. When your opponent loses time, the first thing you should think about is opening the position, right? Because the value of time increases when you open the position. Kind of interesting, right? It's like, imagine, I think of it a little bit like a freeway. When you're on the freeway and it's just bumper to bumper traffic, time doesn't mean that much because you can't go that far. But the second, oh man, that freeway gets open, you're starting to bomb at 80 or something. You can really move. And it's similar here. You're set, so you want to rip this baby open. And that's why this instinct is not poor. Personally, I like this move even better. Notice with this one, I'm free in my business. And if I'm going to be, I still think d5 is going to be okay. I'm a little hesitant because I don't really want to open this guy up, and I want to talk to this square, okay? But your move can't be bad, and that wasn't it. That wasn't it for him. No. That wasn't it. So, you have a variety of good moves. You play queen takes. Knight takes has got to be also a good move. All right, so also e takes has got to be a good move. You know, you're just going to start wasting this fool. All right, but queen takes can't be wrong, so we're going to leave it there. He does this sad move. You go back. Okay. Knight h6. Knight g5. Castles. I like the knight g5. And now you do this. I like it. I like it a lot. Bishop f6. Oh, he defended, but he's not developing. e5, very good. And you're winning because you have rook takes d6. Oh, what a beautiful game. What a beautiful game. Snippos. Crickos. Snap. Very nice. And now, honestly, I haven't looked to see the win, but I am assuming that you are winning this bad boy right here. Boom. In principle, correct. Everyone is getting involved. Simple and beautiful chess. Thank you very much. Notice none of his pieces are working. Knight d6. Well, that's got to be winning. That's got to be winning. Queen h3 has got to be winning, so I'm happy with what you're doing here. That wasn't it. You could have also taken the other way, too. Check to the miserable king. Oh, that was a great game. That was a great game. That was absolutely beautiful. And it's the dojo way, right? Your opponent doesn't develop, you punish. And I can't stress enough. What did he do? Just followed opening principles, right? And you're going to get a lot of these opponents. And even if they do their own chessable work or whatever, the second they have to kind of think on their own, they try to do like, let me just share what I see in so many of these games that I review. A position like this, it's very critical that black develops. Okay, instead, they see just like what they think of as a threat, this G4 square, and is now going to invest 1, 2, 3 moves fixing a piece that's already developed. Now, if you have a higher rated player, what's going to happen is they're not even consider knight g8 because this will be screaming at him. If this knight tries to move there, this rook will be like, what, boss? This knight will be like, what are you doing, buddy? It's my turn. This rook will be going, hey, over here, bud. And the queen will be like, eventually I got to get out too, buddy. You know? And the king will be like, boss, I need my people out so they do things. Yeah. So there we go. David Borger asks, is that deal where you can sign your team up for 6 months still on? No, but we do have a cool deal, is that if you can sign up 10 people from your team, then everybody gets a 20% discount. If you can sign up 50 people, then you get a 30% discount. So there's our deal right there. I am very pro team, my friends. I'm really into it. I think it's a beautiful thing. Every team gets their own dojo, like scoreboard, get to see the progress of everybody. Genius. Okay, so that was great. We marked it as reviewed. Let's go back. And next up, we have Peter's BJ. I've made fun of him for the BJ. For the record, my name is Benjamin John Peters, hence Peter's BJ. I'm not trying to be dirty. Okay. You guys can tell me what you think about that. So, 1284, well, almost ready to graduate again. Ooh, we have some tactics ratings, beautiful. So, in our dojo tactics test, 977, 872. And based on these numbers, we could expect that these tests should be a little higher. Sometimes people have done, so many of these, like PR 5 minutes and stuff, Puzzle Rush 5 minutes, that maybe that's a little elevated. Whereas in the tactics tests, you only get one shot at it. Maybe, that's just a theory. But really cool that you did it. And this probably is a rough indicator of where you are tactically. So at least according to this, well, maybe your tactics need a little work. We'll see. We'll see if I can say something constructive based on the games and other things that we see here. Okay, clubs. Denver, okay. I'm a friend of the Denver Dojo. I'm actually a member of that little club. And then we got activity. Lots of work happening here. Let's go down one. Some non-dojo time. Lots of endgame. Little tactics. Games and analysis. Good to see that the opening was very little. End game, middle game strategy a little bit. Okay, so let's see if we can say something constructive based on the games. This was uploaded fairly recently. Let's take a look. And we're going to flip our screen. Boom. And we're going to go mark reviewed. Pop. Very nice time graph that we got. You guys, the dojo time graph. Absolutely amazing. Let's go check. You know what we need here? I have a feature actually request. Oof, where's my things to write? Show time control on time page. Because what happens is I have to go look like over here and scroll down, and there I see, we got 30 plus 30. Whereas if I'm here, I could just immediately see 30 plus 30. And here what Peter's BJ is doing over here is it's called living on the increment, which is a skill we all have to learn. I'm not very good at it. I'm an old man, so I didn't grow up with that increment stuff. Or the pre-move. I never had that. So here we go. This is a Lone Wolf League. All right, boom. So far, so good. Knight c6. Knight c3. Bishop g4. Okay, white played bishop e3, which the database shows is better for black. White's other two options are cd or bishop e2. Right. So this is a pretty topical line. And the thing that's very deceptive about the database here is when I look at this from a human point of view, I see a typical isolated queen-pawn position where nobody's lost any time. And so, it should be interesting. It should be, a fighting game. If there's a controversy about bishop e3, it's that at some point we might molest it with a knight or something, So e6, and then white goes for it with c5. And you're right. I did not expect this. White cramps black's position, but at the cost of development. Perhaps black should have, I think you meant white should have played bishop e2. Okay, this is a very interesting move. So, this is fun. Bishop e2, the downside is you could then take, right? Still an interesting game. And then the other question for white is, well, if he's going to lose a tempo with, say, bishop e2, maybe he should consider cd or h3 first. It's an interesting game. I don't know. It seems roughly equal to me. This move is fun for a variety of reasons. One is when I was a kid, all the books said that this move was wrong because you're taking pressure away from the center. From my current perspective, the main reason it's wrong is because you're not developing. Okay? But also interesting for me is that I just finished reading a book called The Ink War about chess in the 1880s. And Zukertort was the person who pioneered this kind of queenside expansion, which for the time was very novel because it wasn't really based on the king. It was a new idea. And it certainly can become dangerous. Okay, so let's look at what happens. Can't be wrong. Bishop b5, probably can't be wrong. Black would like to play b6, but he's not ready yet because of this bishop b5 thing. Castles. Queen d3, definitely weird. And we're officially out of the Lichess database. I thought white intended to castle queenside with this move, but he never got around to it. I'm still not entirely sure what this move is about. I think it would have been better for white to castle. That's right. I totally agree with you. Maybe h3 too, just to ask what you want to do with your bishop. Very dynamic position. Okay, queen d3. And you play the natural move, which is bishop takes f3. I believe in that move. I believe in it. You talk about knight e4, a little weird. So yeah, good. Let's take it. a6. Now, maybe. It's probably okay. Jesse, just relax. It's probably okay. just relax, buddy. Okay. Bishop a4. And now you went for b5. I think it's a very interesting move. And he kind of loses his mind here with knight takes b5, and then you lose your mind with queen a5. So I like this move b5 because it negates white's pressure on the queen side. This is terrible because you're just fine, pressuring everybody if you get there. If he goes bishop c2, our default solution could be to hack the thing, though we might have better moves. And then otherwise, that's not an inspiring move, right? So I like b5. He loses his mind completely. And now you blew it with queen a5. Yeah. This one, by the way, okay, so you're saying a b5, bishop b5, queen a5. This one makes me nervous. It might work, but why are we pinning our knight and stuff? You know? I'm assuming it works. I just don't want to do it. Because here, what am I doing? I'm just winning. I'm winning. I got everything. I got an extra piece, spouse. I'm just going to hold the line. I'll play for e5. I'll play for this butts. I'll play for this stuff. I'll play for this stuff. I'm crushing him. No need to be fancy. And I think here you're trying to be fancy too, and you just miss knight c3. And now I guess you're lost. I say lost because now it's going to be really hard to prevent the Zucker-Tortian a3, b4, plus the bishop is now hitting the blockade square. That said, blockade square no longer has control over this business. So all of a sudden, the bishop on a4 went from 0 to hero. Totally weird. Totally. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Play queen d2. And you went back. Queen g2. He's losing his mind. Check to the miserable king. Good move. Thank you very much. Okay. Check to the miserable king. King e2. Queen a5. Okay, good. Good. Let's start attacking this fool. Mate threat. And let me just stress, we see this at the lower levels too. White doesn't know what to do in terms of giving his pieces some coherence. So instead, he's just going to generate some cheap threats, like in this position. I'm pretty sure what happens when he does this. He's just like, dude, I don't know what to do. Let's go threaten mate. So he says this, you know, he does this. And then he's like, well, I'm going to follow up with that. And let me show you the joke of it. Not only does he think he's going to mate you, but he's this claim of this move is that this rook is here so that he can waste you with this, that he's got time to do that. No, he does not. He does not have time to do that, my friend. G6, bishop d2. All right, now you played rook fb8, which I think is okay. It makes me a little nervous. Knight takes d2 is the obvious one because then the knight is pinned forever. Good. Queen b4 has to be okay. Knight h5 is also good. Oh, he has no respect for his pieces. Check to the miserable king. Ooh, brutal. Thank you very much. Check. 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 Okay. Now, it's making me a little nervous. You're doing fine, though. Now, lots of checks. Okay, so I understand. You're playing on the increment, and you're just winning. As long as we don't blow this thing. Oh, that's a dirty check right there. Now, you take... Now, obviously, you got some time pressure issues. I just want to stress, though, in general, we never want to take the pinned piece. Bad form. So what's the correct form? Let's take this bad boy, you know? Look at this chump queen over here. Very good. Check the miserable king. He refuses to resign. Thank you very much. Very good. Resigns. Yeah, that was great. And again, I want to stress, the guy was playing without a sense of how the game's supposed to be played. So something I want to stress is, when we look at the under 1,000 cohorts, we're seeing players who are losing or winning because someone is hanging stuff. Over 1,000, we get less direct hanging of stuff. Still happens, but we get less. And here we can really see the principles winning the game. Cheap one-move threats, that isn't going to do it, buddy. Not against the dojo player. Not against the dojo player, my friend. No, no, no. The game's going to end like this. Right? Okay. Very good. Very good. Yep. All right. That was lovely. And let's go back. All right. So next up we have Benito. Every month we send out this thing called the Dojo Digest, and oftentimes I'll steal a quote from somewhere in the dojo, maybe from this grad feed, and I stole part of it. I stole part of Benito's quote here in our latest Dojo Digest. If you are a member, you get that thing in the mail. A lot of people don't read their mail these days. I get it, but we send it out anyway. You can unsubscribe if we're too annoying. The Palem says, the big dog didn't want to commentate with David and Kostya. Well, two things. First of all, Kostya's in France, not Paris, with David, so they can do it live. But also, I have to do the show. This is religious for me, man. I do this show religiously. I am going to miss this show next month because I am going to be off doing fancy U.S. senior closed stuff. All right, let's click on Benito. Oh, wait, time out. You got to read what Benito says first, bud. I'd already read it, but you guys haven't heard. This was a rapid graduation because my rating was actually at a low point. But in any case, I found the dojo very helpful so far. I'm an adult improver coming back to the game. I played as a kid in scholastic tournaments with good results, but just until now, 35 years old, I have time to pick it up again. This is just a hobby, but if I'm going to spend my time doing something, I want to do it right. This is what I quoted. So I was basically creating a training program like this one on my own till I came across the dojo. For sure, this will save me a lot of time and research. Okay, cool. So let's click on Benito and see what it looks like. All right, data science, economist, data engineer, but most importantly, a chess player. I'm going to give that guy a follow. So, all right. First, let's take a look at the ratings. Dude has done amazing in the checkmate test. 1175 over here, done this. All right, looking pretty good. It's amazing, right? It's what I am seeing is that, so first of all, I created this thing. And, especially for these cohorts, it really is giving a pretty accurate representation when you average it out of this number. It's very close for the most part. All right, here we go. Clubs. Very good. We're going to go activity, see what he did. We'll go down one. And so maybe he didn't log all of his time, but hopefully we're going to find some games and analysis here. At this level, Benito is allowed to study openings. Again, it's not like I'm against openings. I'm just saying it's not going to be helpful. In fact, will hurt if you are under 1200. All right, here we go. Boom. So, Benito Trim against the 12th Knight. Let's give this one a click. We'll switch scenes over here. Bam. And here we go. As you can see here, first of all, we have Kostya giving some nice feedback over here. One of the cool things about the dojo is people are, doing postmortems together. They're doing game analysis. And, when I do my game analysis, it's generally a lonesome affair by myself. But, of course, you can do it with other people. And for the extroverts of the world, that's especially helpful. And for me too, what I do is I review it very in depth and then take it to my coach and then he yells at me, So let's mark this as reviewed. Let's see if we got some time. We do. Oh, this is a big fight. So this is Lichess Classical. Maybe against a fellow dojo player. You can see that they used all their time. So this is great. All right, here we get into it. All right, the old move. And then this is a poor move. Although I understood this is a loss of time, I wanted to avoid the trade. And you write knight f6 ef. This is what my opponent expected. And although this doubles black's pawns and may be good for white, I usually try to avoid trading without a good reason. Okay, So, what's fun about this, first of all, is I did a repertoire for the dojo based on this variation of the karo. Very fun and interesting variation. And by skirting this, the right move, which is knight f6, then black is going to be doing great. Why is it the right move? Well, it's pretty simple. Because black just won a tempo, right? Won a big tempo, plus the knight on g3, kind of a chump, right? Okay, so here we go. g6, I think black's got other moves, but that's fine. Boom, boom, boom. And now you change the plan. Okay. So I want to stress, when you played h3, you lost another tempo. Okay. Bishop c4, and now knight a6 is definitely a weird move. Knight d7, you said you're expecting that. Very good, I agree. That makes sense to me. Knight a6. Now, I want to give you props for not taking. It might even be possible to take the knight, but what I like about you not taking is that the knight is really a chump. Even if he goes to c7, it's going to cost him a move, and he's a little bit flat-footed, I'm going to call it, on c7. A main reason that black at least eventually wants a knight here is to fight for this outpost square that's eventually going to be a thing. Yeah. So, poor move. Castle's good. b6, slow. Queen e2, good. Bishop g5, a little weird. For myself, rook e1 has got to be the move. Let's see what you write. I moved this because I couldn't think of a good way to develop the dark square bishop, and I wanted to trade it with the knight. However, my opponent correctly pointed out in the postmortem that it would have been useful to have it for attacking. Okay, the reason I don't like bishop e3 is that it's in the way of Mr. Rook, right? So rook e1 first and then see what he does. Okay, h6. Please don't tell me you took it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Poor move. So black has two moves that are pretty good here. He took with the bishop very quickly. But you're right, I had no issue giving up the bishop at the time, but now I think it may not have been a good idea. Still, the positions should be equal. Okay. So, one way. So, let's back up for a second. In general, in this kind of position, after we lose our dark square bishop, it's going to be really hard to fight for the dark squares. However, if black takes with the bishop like he does, you have a pretty simple plan of playing rook, rook, knight. More clever from black would have been this. And funnily enough, I don't know if it's funny, but this is the structure that he would normally get in his flavor of the Caro-Kann. And so the genius of this is we prevent the knight, we get ready to win a tempo, and eventually, later, we can play for f5. Yeah. Okay, so mistake. Good move. Little passive, I'd prefer rook fe1. So you got something against rook fe1. I don't know what it is. e6, passive. Queen e4, frisky. I don't really get queen e4. I want rook e1 and knight e5. Oh, you're an evil man. Okay. Now he gets scared and plays bishop g7. I don't think you were threatening anything. Pronto, black needs to be playing c5. Pronto. Uh-oh. That looks like a blunder, huh? I wanted to play queen g3, but I missed f5, and although luckily I can grab some pawns and the position should be playable, this weighed on my mind going forward. Well, yeah, you're blundering a piece. It's over. So again, anytime you make a mistake, even if it's egregious, try to say what you think you should have played. My sense is rook fe1 and h4 both look good. Now let me just get in here. We'll move 16, and let me just, it's kind of, you guys haven't really, yeah, you thought for a little bit. Okay. So 94, boom, 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 boom. And you say black is only slightly better. No, black's definitely winning. Black's definitely winning. And one reason that we can say he's winning has everything to do with this unopposed bishop. Like if we were going to say you had compensation, it would have to be about the ability for you to create some kind of attack, right? But there's no attack because he owns the dark squares, right? There's no punishing the dark squares. They can't attack. Let me get rid of the arrows. You can't attack any of these bad boys over here. All right, let's see how it goes down. Rook a e8, a little passive, but probably playable. Rook f1, finally. Finally. I think rook f1 looks fine. Rook f6, maybe a little weird. Okay. Now we're going to play knight d5. Okay. Bishop d3. Is it a threat? Good question. And now knight f4, maybe a good move. It's going to get a little hot now. Bishop c2. Bishop h8. And now rook e3. And here you talk about knight g4. It's interesting, after I gave my little spiel, it is true that he didn't solve his problems, right? So first off, I'm totally with you that knight d5 got to be done, got to be done. And it's not just about knight f6. It's like this guy's got to get fixed, and then this guy's got to get fixed, right? And on bishop d3, both knight f6 and knight f4 seem to me to be completely winning. Okay, so rook f6, mistake. I think that's a good move. If I were him, I would not be worried about knight c6. Let him, if you want to take that thing, fine. But we do need to fix our knight, so this happens. Good. This happens. Boom. Boom, boom. Very, very good. And now, I mean, yeah, he should be lost. d5. This was already my intention, but I couldn't see now that my position was no good. So I used my time looking for alternatives. But again, there aren't many. Yeah, no, we should not expect that we're doing anything here. Yep, crispy critters. A little soft from our opponent here. He's up 1,000 tempi. He pinned himself pretty good. Okay, so one of the things that maybe we can take away from this is that you really want, first of all, I can tell you want an attacking position, and when you weren't able to get it, you, well, yeah, you really went for it. So like this queen e4 to g4 thing, and then knight e4. So there's a lack of prudence with the knight e4. That's can happen to anybody. But a couple things I might recommend. First, there's a Chessable opening repertoire according to the dojo that I did. That especially for where you're playing, if you don't want to take the knight, then e5. But second of all, this kind of position that you got, especially after knight a6, here you have every opportunity to get a long-term plan going with, castles, rook e1, queen e2, knight e5. and it'll be dangerous. The knight, he can come to c7, d5, but notice both of them want to come to d5. Okay, so that was looking good. Let me go back again. This is Benito. We're wishing him well. I want to see some more games over here too. All right, beautiful. Bang. Change the scene, please. Boom. Sorry, I didn't change the screen right there. Next up, we have Now Z Gaming, who I remember from other episodes here. Kind of inactive in the JoJo, but I joined a local chess club, so I only sparsely filled out the learning stuffs and things. However, I'm spending way too much time on the opening. Okay, there's a confession. There's our confession. We'll follow. I thought I'd already followed him. Look at this crushing progress going on over here. We got some clubs. We got some, no, we don't got any games. We got this. No games. Oh, man, Now Z Gaming. It says you got games, boss. It says you got games. Where's my games, bud? Where be my games? Bummer. Well, it looks like you're playing classical games and annotating them, but they're not here, buddy. They're not here. Okay, bummer. So, Ripshin Death says he needs some H5 energy. Indeed. So, let's see. Who gave us all of these? Who gave us all these free follows? Well, a bunch of, I don't know, Stream Elements is saying. We got Drew Bags following us, all these people. Anyways, I'm not the tech genius, but I appreciate the follows. Here we go. We have one more. Wait a second. This is very confusing. Where's Desk? Desk wrote me, so we're going to look at Desk in a second. But first up, we'll have Young Jedi. Lots of puzzles, watching titled players' speedruns, engaging with them, expanded focus training, analyzing games, help from M. Norris, sending me puzzles, Gaspard, Luke, and most importantly, my coach, GM Moulton. GM Moulton. All right, cool. So let's take a look. Here's Young Jedi. Right. Young Jedi is new to chess and crushing. It is cool to see this kind of progress. So, 1394. Probably hit it there and then fell down, Still, 1394. Hasn't done any tactic stuff. Come on, bud. Let's do it. Now, clubs. The no stress activity. Doesn't look that he has not been logging his business. Games. We got several. All right. So this though was this was a while back. Maybe I've already looked at this one. I have. Oh no. So what we want is for Young Jedi to do some game analysis. It's time, buddy. It's time. Okay. Then finally up, we have Desk, let me just go look at what Desk told me here. So Desk said, I went up 2 cohorts today and it lost the original main graduation message on the page. You check, so it is here for the stream. Now hold on, let's go check something. It might be for next week, dude. Oh yeah, let's go view all. See there, you're for next week, buddy. See, that's next week. So we will look at Ripshin Desk next week. That's why I think he wrote me thinking that it had gotten lost, but we're going to see you next week, bud. We're going to see you next week. I hope that's okay. All right. So I think that's it for me. And lots of things going on at the dojo. And one thing, Sokolov23, anybody out there with the game annotations, I can't recommend the process enough of annotating a game and then looking at it with the coach, like going real deep. And the coach will see things, be able to explain things that you've kind of thought about. And, this database is a perfect place for you to store your games. And other people, you can even comment it, maybe talk to some people before you talk to the coach. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk to Ripshin Desk next week. And We're going to raid somebody. Now, you know who we're going to raid? We're going to raid ChessDojoLive because I think our boys are over there. I think. ChessDojoLive. Let's hope this works. It's kind of fun. I don't know if I've ever raided David and Kostya when they're on a different stream. That's not true. The one time Kostya was on a St. Louis stream or something and I raided him. You know. Anyways, bye everybody. We're going to be back next Wednesday with the next grad show. Ciao.